everybody, and welcome to this week's YouTube video. So this is a bit of a catch-up video. We've had some really cool stuff going on, so I wanted to just come along and chat to you guys for a bit, fill you all in on what's going on and things that have happened in the last couple of months, and share some cool videos. Lexi, away please. Share some cool videos with you guys about what has been happening as well. So here I am in the field. Here's Blondie, and there's Zora. My doggies all around. So yeah, Zora is back out in the field. Let's start with Zora. So Zora damaged her splint bone back in February, and she has been in rehab now. So if you are a patron member, so member of my online community, you will see that I just posted the first rehab video with her. So we're talking all about relaxation and long lining and postural change, because Zora is a bit of a tricky shape in her body, and as you can see in these videos, we are talking about changing that posture, helping her find a slightly different space in her body and not returning to the old patterns that she has known for a long time. When Zora was 4, she suffered an injury to one of her fetlocks behind, and it kind of went unresolved. She wasn't lame, but it wasn't perfect, and I think that maybe there was something else going on for her in that time. And so we're only just starting to kind of get to the bottom of that, really, and make sure that her body is realigned. And I think it comes a lot from knowledge and awareness that I am gaining, and also her body maturing, because she's now 7. Ralph, you're a bit distracting, maybe. So Zora is now in trot work, and she's been doing really well. So the splint bone didn't actually mend itself. So just talking about her current rehab, the splint bone didn't actually glue itself back together again. There's still a gap, and what my vet has said is that potentially that will just stay like that now for the rest of her life, and we don't have to worry about it too much. It will just do its own thing, and then it will like strengthen around the little bone fragment, and that's kind of it. If when we had started work we had seen inflammation start, then potentially we would have to have it taken out, because it would mean that it was going to cause the leg, aggravate the leg and cause a problem. He says it's very common. Sometimes they'll show up on vettings. They have, you know, horses have had a kick in the field and nobody's known about it, and so then the horse has had a fractured splint bone and they just carry on without anybody knowing anything about it. So we're going to leave it where it is, and we are now back working her. So we've been doing a lot of stuff long lining with the Equiband. So this is a system that helps lift the core, because you'll see in Zora's back that she has this sort of a shape, and what we're trying to do is encourage her to lift through her core and use her whole body, like her full body. So that is the start of the rehab that we've been doing. I felt when I was doing this rehab that it's really an opportunity to kind of start again with Zora. She has had a couple of different rehabs. You know, she had her surgery when she had chips removed, and she had this injury with her hot fetlock. So there's been a number of things that have happened that have meant that she needed periods of rest. And so, what are you doing? What are you doing, Lexi? Oh, hello. Are you going to come and stand on me? This is nice-ish. Don't know if I totally feel that this is a good idea. Blondie, do you mind? Goodness me, madam. Apparently I'm in the patch of grass she has to eat. Decided to relocate. That was a bit stressful. The dogs kept growling at me too, which obviously mildly disruptive on a video. I'm going to find a quiet spot to sit down. Maybe prop my phone up as well, because I think my shoulder's going to fall off if I continue like this. So as I was saying, we are doing the rehab with Zora at the moment, and I'm really enjoying the journey, actually. Seeing her body change and doing things with the knowledge that I have now is quite amazing, because I see more and I notice more, and it's kind of a bit of a dangerous place to be, because you can kind of make them lame in your head if you're not careful. But I'm starting to really feel like now that isn't so much happening, and I'm not seeing these little inaccuracies in her body. I was still really seeing that this postural shape in her body wasn't changing as much as I would like to, and she sees Fanula, who's amazing. She's a myofascial release specialist, and I've talked about this a little bit on here before, and she saw her and she said that she would suggest her seeing an osteopath or a chiropractor. And I had the most amazing opportunity yesterday, actually. So it's Saturday today when I'm filming this, and it was on Friday. And I was invited to lunch at Equitex HQ. So I've been riding in Equitex saddle pads for a number of years now, really long time. And I can't ride anything else now. They are really remarkable technology. They have a special foam in them that's reflective of the horse's movement. So it allows muscle promotion rather than it being like dampening or squashing the horse's muscle. And the company was created by an Italian osteopath, and that is who I got to meet yesterday. So he came to the UK with his lovely wife Petra, and I was invited to meet them over at Equitex HQ along with some other friends. So, you know, it was a big group of us and it was really great. And I got chatting with the Johannes's wife Petra, and I said, oh, I've got this horse and I'm so interested because she carries this kind of inaccurate posture where she's got this lovely neck and great back legs, but the middle doesn't work, and she kind of holds her ribcage too wide and everything kind of drops down in the center. And actually recently I had Zora's back x-rayed because of this posture, and we learnt that actually her vertebrae are good, slightly too narrow, good. So they're not touching and there's no ossification on either side of the vertebrae, but they are closer together. So it's telling me that everything is starting to do that rather than that. And so what we did is the vet medicated this gap to really give some relief, some lacking, less inflammation, and give some better mobility to the area. And he said, now I need to start really working her to encourage her to use this part of her body up through her center, as you see in this video here that I'm describing it. And so what we're doing is creating more awareness of that part of her body, less inflammation, less pain, and better movement. And what Johannes was able to do yesterday was encourage even more of that. So he was able to help unblock Zora, because the horse's body runs on energy, and if there are energy centers in their body that become blocked for whatever reason, whether it's because they have had a fall or an injury or rehabilitation or box rest or learnt to go in a postural way, that there are kind of places in their body that can get very stuck. And we ask a lot of their bodies, by working them and going to shows and travelling and keeping them in stables and doing all of these relatively unnatural things. As you saw the mares just there in the field, that's what they're bred to do, to eat grass and forage and roam, not be kept in stables very still and all the rest of it. So it's very important when we ask this of their bodies that we do also think about how we can support their bodies. And what Johannes was talking about a lot, and what the Equitex brand is really centered around, and these saddle pads is centered around, is this flow of energy. And he talked a lot about their meridians, their acupressure meridians, so they're where they're literally like the power in their body comes from. And actually I'm going to show you a picture now of the Equitex pads, and the silicone on the pads, that is the grip that holds the pad onto the saddles. But the silicone is designed to show this power of the horse's movement. I didn't know this until yesterday, but the design of the silicone in this way, where it swirls to the right at the back and to the left at the front, or clockwise at the front and anti-clockwise at the back, is the same process of the horse's bodily movement. And it's this kind of continuous line, this ellipsis, this infinity symbol that continues. And if these get blocked or stuck, then we run into trouble. And this is what I was feeling with Zora, that she had this highly powerful hind leg and she was so soft in front, and he even commended me, which was a lovely moment, on her lovely neck, because I worked so hard to have my horses soft and threw over their back. And I kept getting stuck at this same point with Zora before her injury, where we would work and she would be good, and then she would get tight in her low back behind the saddle. And it's because of this stuck energy through her center. So now I have this opportunity to work her in a way where we can change that, and not for my own gain, but for her own body. you know, to create this future for her own body where she is strong and positive and powerful and able. And she's such a good horse, you know, she's so able and capable and kind that she will continue to do these things for me, regardless of whether they feel good or not. And Johannes was amazing yesterday, and I'll put in some clips now so you can see we walked her up and down to start with. I don't actually know if I have a clip of the walk before, which is annoying because the difference in her walk was so great at the end. And then he was doing some work behind, releasing off through her hindquarters. And then he was doing some work as well through her rib cage. And I'll put some voiceover over this video now. So he had already released her behind, moving her hindquarters and feeling all in the sensitive places. And there was quite a lot of sensitivity from her to start with. And then he was using his, I think it's like an acupressure device. It's like a little metal pen, essentially. And he was getting her to lift in different places and like really releasing her in different places. She found it quite uncomfortable. She was really finding it difficult. And he was very gentle and moving her body in these very subtle ways. You can see at the end of this clip that she starts to find some amazing release. She actually started at this point, but Lucy was videoing and didn't quite get the videoing of the front end, which was a pity. But you can see he's lifting her through the core, which is something I have always struggled to do. You know, you do those stretches, don't you? And they say, oh, put your hands underneath and get them to push up into their top line. And Zora's there like, well, I just can't. And I've really struggled with that for a long time. She was kind of biting the rope a lot and generally being a bit sort of all over the place. But actually when he was finished, she was yawning her head off and really releasing and kind of moving into a different part of her body, which I haven't seen her do. It was quite remarkable to see her doing this, but she kind of could only handle so much. And I think that's because this has been a long time coming. She's like, hey, what are you doing? So amazing work that he was doing, and I'll put in a little clip of her walk at the end now. And it was amazing to see her walk afterwards. You can see her really so fluent and positive, and it was the most amazing experience to meet Johannes and to see that change in her. I think he's really quite a special guy, and I think he has a real gift with the horses that I haven't experienced in a while with somebody like that, you know. So I feel so privileged to get the opportunity to meet these amazing people and to learn these amazing things and to help my horses in this way. So he has given me the go-ahead to kind of crack on a bit more now with Zora. We have the saddler coming next week. So we have Mandy from Harry Dabbs coming on Tuesday. So we're going to have a saddle refitted for Zora, and I'm so excited. Because I know that these saddles are very good and they are wide enough in certain places that they allow the horse to move their body in the right way. And so all of these things are starting to tie together, where I feel like I'm really going to get this opportunity with Zora now to have an amazing horse to do all of the things that she is capable of and loves doing. I can't wait to be training. I think that's the thing that I gain the most from. I don't know about shows anymore, but training I know that I love. Going, learning, absorbing information and showing how those things can work and showing you guys all of those things. So with Zora, I am so excited. I can't tell you. It really kind of feels like a new beginning with her, and I can't wait to share it with you all. So I have a couple of other horses to update you on. I'll update you on Blondie next. So we have been having a bit of an up and down time with Blondie recently. So you saw that we've started to do some positive reinforcement training, and there is a video going live tomorrow on my online training platform with an update of where that target training is going, where that positive reinforcement training is going, and how we're getting along. And it's amazing to see, actually. She's just so cool. Like, she's really starting to come into her own, and she's starting to get so much more confident, and it's amazing because I can really see where the future's going to go for Blondie. And it's the slowest journey I've ever been part of, but I wouldn't change it because I've learned so much along the way, and I think she's such an amazing teacher for not only me but for everybody that watches her, because she is so clear. She's like, no, or yes, or I'm not sure. You know, she's not there's no having to read between the lines with her. She's so black and white about things, and I think that makes her a great teacher, right? She's so clear with everything that there's no way that you can not get the right answer or not hear what she's trying to say. So, I have been having trouble with her hormones again. So we, through the winter, she didn't come into season at all, which is not like her. Previously, she's been in season all the time. And so she was put permanently on Regulate before I owned her. Regulate is like the human contraceptive for horses, but it's pretty manky stuff and it's very chemical based. And I didn't like the thought of her having that while in my care because we don't want to handle it. I have young women that work for me on the yard. I'm a young woman myself. It really messes with our hormones if you get it on your skin, and I just don't think that sort of stuff should have its place because, I don't know, it's complicated, and I think her hormones have been something that I have really toiled with because, as you saw previously in previous update videos, that I did try to stop her from having seasons by implanting a marble into her uterus, and it was such a waste of time. She physically ejected it from her body. I don't recommend it to people. I think it works very rarely in horses. I think it works maybe in 50% of horses, which is pretty low because 1 in 2 kind of thing. And for me, I don't know. I've really come to learn that we should be supporting our horses with their hormones rather than trying to stop them from having them. And that's been a huge learning for me about actually listening and making sure that I'm supporting her in every way I can with her body. So I do lots of things to support her with her hormones. I feed her a mineral balancer from Equifeast. I feed her a Premier Performance Sassy Mare supplement. And I also feed her homeopathy from Crossgates. And those 3 things have been really helpful in her hormones. So she now has a normal cycle. So she has a cycle of every 20 days she comes into season for 3 or 4 days, and then she's out of season again. And when she's in season, I am yet to be able to do anything useful with her. She goes out in the field every day, but she is not interested. She doesn't want you to groom her. She doesn't want you to pick her feet out. She looks a bit uncomfortable in her whole self. So I'm looking at ways to support her in that. And actually, I've been in conversation with Camilla from Premier Performance, and she has suggested doubling the dose of the mare supplement that she's having for these times where throughout the summer where she's really struggling. It's completely herbal, amino acids, that kind of thing. That's all she's, because it's completely herbal, I can double the dose. I don't have to worry that it's going to be causing a problem or like causing her any damage with any other parts of her body. So I highly recommend that supplement. If you're having trouble with a mare and you feel like they need a bit more support, then that would be my starting place. Now, I think sometimes ulcers are diagnosed as hormones in horses, and actually if your horse is like pissed off all the time and angry and swishing their tail and all those things, it's unlikely to be their hormones. It's more likely to be something in their physical body. Like, I know obviously hormones are in their physical body, but you know what I mean. So I would also be suggesting looking at their whole health, and that is what I have done with Blondie. This isn't just her hormones. I treat her gut. I care for her gut. She has the PSSM, which is the polysaccharide storage myopathy, and so there's lots of things with Blondie that I do, but we're getting to a good place. And if you want to learn more about what I've been doing Blondie, then there are more videos that you can watch on her. But here are some videos of what we've been doing. As you can see, the target training is going really well, and she's making huge progress, and it's just lovely to see her starting to feel good about training, and more commonly she's happy to go with me. And I've actually been creating a series of TikTok videos which have been very popular. I'm showing them on Instagram too, and of like what Blondie thinks. So we got her new hoof boots, and here is the video of her learning about the new hoof boots.
Hello everybody, welcome back. It's me again, Blondie. So, my human said we were going to go hacking today, and that she bought me some new trainers. They smell. I don't like the smell of funny things, especially neoprene. Absolutely hate it. So, then she tried to pick up my foot. I mean, is she mad? I had to put my ears back then, just to make sure that she knew I wasn't very happy about it. She picked my feet out, and then you put my new bootie on, and actually didn't feel terrible. Not gonna lie, I did wave my leg around a bit to see if I could maybe wave it off. She hung on tight. She's used to me these days. So, as you can see, she was super pleased. I was not pleased, never pleased, very uncertain. Am I about to die of a hoof boot? So they have these nice soft neoprene straps on the front, and so she did those up. And then she did the other foot. Now, I actually felt really nice in my left boot when I was standing on one leg. Previously, didn't like standing on one leg. But as you can see here, I'm a great little girl these days, and I am much happier about most normal things. So, as you can see, she did the other one. The dog, in the way, always. Had my saddle on. I quite like my saddle these days. I don't like her though, do I? Ears back. Here I am, looking like the angel that I am. I did feel lovely. I felt very comfy in my lovely Ecotech saddle pad, my custom-made Harry Dabb saddle, my fluffy girth. She does treat me well, my human, I can't deny that. Then I had my bridle. Absolutely used to hate my bridle. As you can see now, love my bridle. I even felt so nice in my bridle, I made my human crouch down on the ground to do it up because I thought, oh, I feel so nice and soft in my body. I just put my head on the floor. Then she led me out. She was so pleased. Honestly, you should have seen her. She was the happiest human I've ever seen today getting to ride me. She's not ridden me in ages because we were doing some rehab. But now I definitely feel ready for the riding. So here we are, being a good girl at the mountain block. Put her in the tree. That's what she deserves really, doesn't she? And then here I am, ready to go for my hack. I hope you enjoyed watching me get tacked up. I certainly enjoyed getting tacked up. See you guys for the next video. It's a good one.
And so you can see that we're starting to do cool stuff with Blondie, and it's really exciting. And no doubt it might get hard again, but it's starting to feel more consistently easy with her, and like she's able to start answering in a consistent way. And I think for me that's the most important thing, that we're starting to get to a place where things are easier, not a place where things are very good and then very bad. You know, things are like, yeah, and I'm starting to really learn her ways. And actually she was able to see Johannes yesterday, which I didn't think would happen. I said, I've got this very, very sensitive horse. I'd love for you to meet her because I'm no doubt you could help her a lot, but I don't promise that she'll let you. And he said, okay. And his English isn't great, so he was like, yeah, okay. And I don't think he quite understood how bad she was, but this is the video of when they first met. And you can see we did some walking around and showing him how she was moving, and then it came to the point where he came to meet her. And actually a turning point was when he gave her... What are you barking at? Sitting in my car like a recording studio and the dogs are outside. The turning point was when he gave her some food, actually, and she was like, this isn't so bad. And then he was able to touch her, and she was pretty unsure. And so I'm coming to learn that this is self-preservation and that she is protecting herself, and that is it. That is all it is. It's not that she's in pain and she's protecting herself. It's more that she is telling everybody around her, like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Do I need to get there first? Do I need to tell you off first before you do something bad to me? And I think she has associations with men and vets, men and farriers, men and not being kind. I know she had some blokes ride her before I bought her, and the videos I've seen are horrible, big bits and spurs and whips and all this horrible stuff. And I just think, you know, horses like Blondie, this is quite annoying. I got cut off earlier because we had a new horse arrive at the yard. But horses like Blondie that are sensitive and are protective of themselves and are aware of what feels good and do have discomfort in their body from their muscle disorder. I don't notice it in her muscles as such, but it is likely that it does cause her discomfort. And obviously I'm doing lots of things to support her, which you can see in previous videos. But it was interesting because when he got his hands to touching her, she realised that he was actually there to help. And that is what he had said. He said often these horses protect themselves until they know that we're trying to help, and then they let us help them. So that was what we did yesterday with Blondie. And what he was talking about with her was that she held a lot in her head, and he thinks that actually when she was a foal, maybe she had a traumatic birth, potentially she was a big foal. She's a big mare, so it's not unlikely that she was big as a foal, and potentially her birth was not as straightforward as it could have been. And what happened then is maybe they get squeezed too much, or things get jingled about, and this happens in babies. And actually we were talking about this yesterday when we were there at Amanda's. So by no means are we saying that this is the only thing that's going to have been causing Blondie discomfort, but potentially it's going to have been, you know, contributing. So he released that, and that was lovely to see, and we'll see if she feels better for it. But in all of these cases, with all of these horses, it's so much about little bits, like all of these different pieces fitting together, making sure that we are doing the maximum that we can with all of these little pieces. We've been doing some hacking recently. We even did some hacking where we took Zora with us as part of her rehab. So I rode Blondie and I led Zora. I always made sure that I had Meg with me on Boots, who is our most sensible horse ever these days. And yeah, it's wonderful now because we get to go out together like that, and it's really cool because they kind of are such good friends. You can really see that Blondie gains something from Zora, and I think Zora gained something from Blondie. It was just a really lovely, cool moment. I'll share some videos with you guys of of us doing that now, but it's just a lovely thing to feel having both those horses at that point. And I'm really hopeful that with Blondie's hormones that we can keep supporting her in that way. So that is the Zora and Blondie update. I'm going to run through briefly what the other horses are doing at the moment. So you saw in the last video that I turned Dee Dee out for a holiday. She is just chilling, growing in the field. I'm really mindful that she's very big for a 4-year-old, and I want to allow her time to mature and grow, and I'm really not in a hurry to do things with her as a 4-year-old. I'm quite scared to do things with her, to be honest, and I don't want to ruin things for her future because it's very important to me that she gets everything that she needs. And she was just lovely when she was in work, so I just don't feel like I need to be doing very much. I'm not teaching her anything particularly. I'm only putting miles on the clock as such at her age. So I really wanted to give her some time out in the field, so that is what she is doing. Indy turned 3. It was her three-year-old birthday in June, on June the 9th. So she turned 3, and she is still just in the field. The shoulder is doing much better. If you're new here, she broke her shoulder 18 months old and has spent a long time rehabbing. She actually just spent a long time in her stable, resting, because that was what had to happen because she had surgery on her shoulder. It was very major. But now she's doing really well. She is very field sound. She doesn't look great when she trots on a bit of a slant. It's like she doesn't have that action, which is interesting. I'd love for her to meet wonderful Johannes, who met Blondie and Zora, but that will have to be for when he visits next time. But she's doing really well. She's very happy. She's very evidently not in pain. And for me, that is what I can strive for at the moment. And something that was very interesting was her feet had started to change shape. So her left front leg, the good leg, the foot had got quite flat, where she had been putting more weight onto the left side and not on the right side. And the right foot had become more upright, so more this shape. So we were getting flattening and more upright, whereas now they've started to level out again, which is telling me that she's starting to use that right form more than she is the left, or starting to be more balanced. So I'm really, really excited, and I'm hopeful that maybe she might just one day have, I don't know, maybe she could be a cool circus pony. I have no idea, but at the moment she's doing really well and she's very happy. This does bring me onto some rather sad news. Mo is fine. She's still out there. She's playing grandma to, well, mum to Dee Dee, but grandma to Indy, and they're doing really well. And Kenko is out on loan and she's still doing great. So those ones they're all consistently fine. But we had some very sad news, or a very sad situation. So you guys might remember Tilly, lovely chestnut gelding. He's owned by my partner George. And he was not very old, I think 15, and unfortunately we had to have him put to sleep a few weeks ago. He had a very old stifle injury and it got progressively worse, and there was a day where he was really on his toe and it was really rubbish, and we had to make a hard decision. We gave him some time with a lot of pain relief, and we put him in a big grassy field, and he had some days of no discomfort, and then he went over the Rainbow Bridge. And it was really hard because when we gave him that pain relief, he really perked up and he looked very different, but it wasn't the kind of pain relief that he could live on long term. It was quite extreme pain relief. It was steroid, and it was something else, I can't remember what it was. And it was, as they say, the kindest thing to do. And I really struggle with that phrase because I'm a vegetarian. I try not to eat, I try not to eat very much dairy, that kind of thing. And I really struggle with horses or animals dying because we say so. I really find that very difficult. It's something I've always struggled with. I've been very lucky and I haven't had to have many horses put to sleep in my time. I lost my foal, of course. That was taken out of my hands. She died in my hands, actually, of sepsis. And then Nanette, my old mare, she passed away, was last year and before winter. And she had very bad colic. And I was never going to put her through surgery. She was 27 and she had a good day and then a bad day, and then a very good day, and then she had a very bad night again, and I made that call and it was horrid, but the choice was made for me. Whereas this situation with Tilly, it's felt quite different because he was quite bright in himself, but he was hurting and he had started to really strongly compensate with the other hind leg. It had kind of moved into the middle of his body and he just looked a bit crappy. And he was on eating a lot of food and it was keeping him in a good place but not a great place, and so we had to make that call. And it was very peaceful, but it was really hard because he, like I say, he looked pretty good on the day that he left, and I think that's a really hard thing with horses. But I think it's an important conversation to talk about because they always say, don't they, oh, it's better a day too early than a day too late. And I think that was this situation because Meg very carefully reminded me that actually it would have been very bad to have found him one day, him not being able to get up or really so in pain or dropping a lot of condition or any of those things. So yeah, it was tough, and it's a hard bit in horses that I don't think I'll ever get used to, and I hope I don't because it will mean that I've lost the care. But it was peaceful, and you guys might think I'm totally mad, but a while ago after it happened, I was really struggling, and every time I tried to go to sleep I was really panicking and it was really not a good time. And one night I was listening to a sleep meditation to try and help me get off to sleep, and it was talking me through going through the woods, like a woodland walk basically. And then I don't know if I was asleep or not, but I remember I was on a river, and at the bank of the river there was like a clearing, and on the bank Nanette, my foal, Mackenzie, and Tilly came and they wickered at me and then they went again, and he was so happy and they were all so shiny and healthy and all of the things they weren't when they left. And it was really lovely, and it meant a lot to me that happened because it's given me a lot of peace that maybe their souls have passed on. And I believe in that our souls kind of live forever and that our bodies are like this vessel that we get this chance to live in. And yeah, I don't know, I believe a lot in like messages and the after, whatever after this is. So yeah, gosh, sorry for crying. But he's gone now, and he was such a wonderful boy. And I maybe put in a little video now of him. And I remember the last time I got to jump him and he went to a show and he won a rosette. And I think he did that when he was hurting. And that's really hard for me to know that I put him through that. But he was just so generous and kind. And he did such a lovely job looking after the youngsters. And he was so sweet with them and always so gentle. And yeah, aren't we so lucky to have these amazing horses in our lives? And I hope that you guys have horses in your lives and love them as much as I love mine. Anyway, I'm gonna go now. I think that's the update. Yeah, thanks for being here and watching me cry, and I'll see you guys for next time. Bye for now.